Hey everybody, welcome back to The Nexus, where we spotlight some of our favorite local businesses and just regular entrepreneurs and philanthropists. Today I'm really excited that you get to meet Todd Watson. He is an amazing person. He's been involved in so many things throughout this community that I can't wait for you to just kind of get a glimpse into what Todd's life has been. So welcome, Todd.
Thanks, friend. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
I'm great. Yeah, it's been a fun, busy day. So
Honored to be on your show.
I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a very busy person.
No, it's good to be here. Always have time for friends.
Aw, I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm excited just to kind of hear a little bit about your backstory. I'm not even really for sure where you grew up or anything like that. So tell us where you came from, where you've been, and what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I grew up here in Lincoln. So I grew up over on 30th and Calvert.
Oh.
So I was a Rousseau, Irving, Southeast kid.
Okay.
So, yep, proud to be
Lincoln,
from here.
Born and bred.
Yep. Went away for school.
That I'm actually not surprised by.
Yeah, I went to TCU for undergrad, and then I went to the University of Texas at Austin for graduate school in kind of the business area.
Did you get an MBA?
I got an MPA, which is
Ooh.
Masters of Professional Accounting, with an emphasis in taxation. So I was a certified nerd. That's what my certificate's in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's how I started. Became a CPA. Worked in firm life. Realized after about 3 years, if I was going to sit behind a desk forever, I was literally going to go insane.
Yeah.
So, left that
I'm
field.
not surprised you were a CPA. That is just totally...
Yeah, I'm still very analytical.
Uh-huh.
That's how my brain goes, very number oriented. That's kind of my background in training, risks training as well too.
Uh-huh.
But also realized I wouldn't be in boredom training. I wasn't trained for that. So yeah, I got out of that function.
Yep.
And started my own company. Actually, I went to work for another Fortune 500 company, ran their consulting operations in the Metroplex.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then I started my own company in Phoenix. That was way back in 2005. And when my non-compete expired, started my company in DFW area.
Uh-huh.
Sold those companies and went to Chicago, did a little venture capital work. My dad always believed that you would not work for the family business. You need to make your own name, do your own thing first before you worked in the family business, because the second generation stereotypes are very real. So if you're a second generational person, you know how that goes.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of successful business owners that have had kids that really encourage them or almost force them to go work for somebody else to get experience working in a different business before they come work for the family business. And I think that's really smart.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you have to make your own way,
Yeah.
and it's nice to have your own thing that you started and proven yourself. So that's what we did. So we sold those companies. But when I was in Chicago, at that time, my dad's fine, but my dad had a health condition at that time. Mm-hmm. And my brother was working up in Gallup in Omaha, and we came back and took over the family business, as well as started a tech company that my brother runs here in town.
Yeah.
And we've acquired another real estate company in Omaha.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it has been exciting. But about 4 years ago, I really started giving my time to nonprofits and doing philanthropy work and a lot of political work. So I have great people at our companies, and we'll talk about you. You're a great person that achieves things, and philosophy has been simple: put great people in the position that can solve the problems in front of them, let them run. That's always worked well for me, is finding the right people to work with.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done, and a lot of it's to free up my time to do causes and I believed in. And so that's kind of where I really put my leadership skills in the past, I'd say really 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Well, I think we've all benefited from the time that you've given to all those organizations. Why don't you tell us about a few of them that are really either top of mind right now because you're really active, or ones that have just been kind of dear to the heart?
Yeah, so obviously I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship and business. So, I'm past president of the Lincoln Independent Business Association. I served that. That's probably where we got to know each other.
Yeah, it was really cool. We were at a luncheon, and I was pretty new to LIBA, and we sat at the same table, and you were just nice enough to say, hey, let's catch each other afterwards, and we talked for almost an hour, I think, about
That was at the
real
Graduate
estate.
Hotel, right?
Yeah, real estate and Century and just everything that you had done, and I got to fangirl on you for a little while. And
Yeah, so I own a tech company, but I'm not a tech person.
Yeah.
I'm very strategic. I'm a number guy. My brother's the tech nerd. But, you're telling me a little about your background. I was so intrigued. I was like, we have got to get to know each other.
Yeah.
And so we sat there at the Graduate Hotel and talked for about it was a good hour.
Yeah.
And that's how we started kind of kindling what you do and what I do, and it's been great. But other organizations, obviously I'm very passionate about my faith, so I got involved in Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Cool.
Very political, so we got involved in capital studies, helping that pastor died, and worked with finding a new pastor for the state senators, a cause I believed in. And then obviously I've been very political in the past 5 years, so I've been highly involved with both city level politics as well as state level politics, and spent some time in DC as well too. So a little bit of everything, which I enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your entrepreneurial background was really what drew me to you, and I'm sure you have a lot of really great insights after having built and sold a business. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that and kind of what your goals were before choosing to sell.
Yeah, so again, that was all about helping people. I love helping people, and that company was about helping people find jobs or helping companies solve problems. So I built a consulting operation in Phoenix and Dallas with the simple premise of helping companies solve their problems with the consultants I knew in the area. And so that was good. But, it was also painful. Anyone that's been in partnerships, it's when you're young and you're learning, you come together over reasons, and you realize it's maybe you're not the best to work together.
Yeah, so finding the right partner to start a business with is really difficult.
But, we went our own ways amicably, and we had a good buyer for the business, that people wanted the business. So, you make a profit and you decide you want to do your own things going forward. It worked for everybody in the end. Yeah. But I think that's the lesson learning from is partnerships are delicate, and how you work on partnerships, that experience kind of changed how I approach things, for sure.
So it just became the right time for...
It was a good time. We were in a good market, and the buyers were there.
Yeah.
So why not?
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit difficult for people sometimes to get involved. I think once they're in an organization, they get to know people, and it's a lot more easy to just get involved on a committee or something. What would you say is a good way for people to start with getting involved, whether it's politics or nonprofit?
I think you have to know what you believe and what your values are.
Yeah.
If you're going to do something for free, you better be passionate about it.
Yeah.
If you don't have the passion to see it through, you won't be successful at it. And so I sought opportunities out in areas I was passionate about: business, ministry, politics. And, fortunately, there's some crossover, there's some not crossover, and so did a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, I know you're frequently interviewed on the radio and stuff, so you're obviously very natural here on the Nexus. But what do you like the most about kind of being a public figure and being able to speak about issues that are going on in the economy or just social issues?
Well, speaking is educating. I think the biggest blessing for doing these things is meeting great people, like yourself. You were a huge asset this year. You and I were working on a project down at the arena, massive event with a lot of people, a lot of presentation. And I was having a nightmare with the video boards and the ribbons. But because we had talked, and got to know each other, what each person solves, I was like, Renee can take care of this. Renee will solve the ribbon problem and the AV problems we were having. And we were all worried about the night before. And that's why I love people that solve problems like you. And I came in the next day. The board got flipped on. Everything was fixed. Everything was right sized. The Prezo was one, and we got rave reviews over that.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, to kind of see it from beginning of that, just kind of an idea of let's get some sponsorships out on the video boards, and then figuring out like kind of what a feat that really was with the technology that is in place. And it was fun. It was a neat challenge.
When you do too much, you just lose patience with people who can't get jobs done or can't get them done right.
Yeah.
And so,
that's important.
That's the thing I sell with Renee. It's like, look, I did delegate. I didn't have to micromanage, and it got done right, And so I just love surrounding myself with people like you and that do that. Just solve problems, get it done, and you don't have to micromanage their life.
Right. And if you kind of go around your life trying to solve problems all the time, you're going to be actively making a difference in so many people's lives. It's fun when you get to make something easy for somebody else. Like
right.
If you have a talent that you're really good at, like fine, it's like technology or whatever for us, but if your talent is singing or anything, I mean, there's plenty of ways to get involved and make a difference.
Yeah, the ministry thing is like finding the one-on-one person. They're really good at ministry.
Yeah.
I'm okay at one-on-one, but Todd's never been accused of being the most cuddly, warm bear in the world. So, but you need those people too. And so it's just finding the right people for the job is kind of what I'm passionate about.
Yeah, that's really true. I think hiring is a really big issue right now. And so finding the right people is maybe a great little subtopic for us. What have you found to be good interview tactics or retention tactics for your companies?
Yeah, so the companies in Phoenix and Dallas were built around hiring. So I've hired probably over 1,000 people. It really depends on the job. You have to know what the job calls for. I believe in people's talents. So it really depends. Like if I was hiring a salesperson, I want to find someone that's very competitive.
Yeah. And
people put too much emphasis on degrees or I came from here and so hotty-totty stuff. For me, I like to find just being successful wherever you're at. It doesn't matter if you were a checker at Hy-Vee. If you were a checker at Hy-Vee and got promoted to a manager, that tells me they saw something in the responsibilities you had there, and you were able to take it to you got pushed to another level. They wanted to give you more responsibility. Salespeople, it's like if you're competitive, if you competed in high school sports, then you wanted to win. Salespeople are a little more competitive on the scoreboards.
Totally. Yep, those are definitely the most successful.
The ministry aspects, it's like life change stories that surround you are good.
Yeah.
Show me who you've worked with and what happened in their life. Mm-hmm. Political people, I mean, there's different aspects of it depends on the job. There's a lot of different jobs in politics. So it starts with understanding the talents that are going to win, but there's core things that work in every position for, hey, you went on from this responsibility to more responsibility. You were dependable.
Yeah.
You were successful in whatever you were given and took it to another level, right?
Yeah. I think also making sure somebody's well-rounded, that they didn't only focus on academics or sports or, one thing. If they kind of have a variety of organizations that they belong to, I feel like those are a little bit more well-rounded people that can kind of
and we're
pitch
very,
in wherever.
As far as my companies go, we want the balanced people, like, because of the faith-based component. I don't want your family to suffer for my company. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Now, there's times and periods where you have to sacrifice and give a little bit more, but we'll try to watch that on the back end, so maybe you get some extra time here.
Yeah.
Because I think every business has its peaks and valleys and demand times.
Yeah.
But if you're always at a peak time, you burn people out.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be responsible for, hey, that fell apart at the end. So just kind of understanding you're looking for, that balance.
Yeah.
In life.
Yeah, and I really liked what you said that, it doesn't really matter what the degree is. I mean, you're not hiring a doctor at any point. So
Right.
The degree isn't as important, but if you can see something in somebody that didn't have a specific degree or specific example of work that they've done, but you see something in them and you kind of take a chance on them, I feel like they're even more eager to prove to you that they are up to the challenge and willing to work hard. And I think that's really fun to see when you have employees that turn out to be amazing, and you didn't really know. You almost take a gamble just because they have the right attitude.
Right. And I'm big on stewarding whatever you're giving. It doesn't matter if it's small or big.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty faith-based principle. If you steward, whether it be 1 or 5, expect to get 2 and 10.
Yeah.
And some people steward less, some people steward more, but everybody, and I don't care what company it is, needs people that takes the job they're given, stewards it well. And I think in today's economy, there's plenty of room to grow for people that take the opportunities they're given, no matter what the size, and run with them.
Yeah. Taking ownership is a big deal.
Big.
Yeah.
It's real big, yes.
Yeah. One thing I really like to ask my guests, I don't always have time for it, but what is your favorite book that you've ever read?
Probably Why the Shepherd. So it's written by the largest farmer of sheep in the world. And from a faith-based level, why did God compare us to sheep? Why didn't he pick lions or dogs or bulls? And just learning about it's very interesting, the characteristics of sheep. They're very different than most of the kingdom, and I think it's very insightful into human nature and into some of the things we struggle with as humans. So that is probably my favorite book.
Well, that's good. That's one I haven't heard of. Yeah,
is Shamu. I mean, how they trained Shamu to jump over ropes, and that whole process. I think motivating people. I mean, there's some aspects from that book, from a business book. So, would it be, hey, you were in one of the top business schools? Was it some Harvard-written professor? I go, no. I think these are just basic concept books into human nature that I think are really insightful to help people grow their businesses or to understand human nature a little bit better.
Well, people are the biggest wild card in every business or nonprofit or anything in the world, basically. I think they're just the biggest wild card because we just can't predict humans. So if you can get into the minds of people, it's a really powerful thing if you can help motivate people. And I think it's about, like you said, finding their talent and bringing that out.
Yeah, and I think sometimes us as leaders, I mean, you're a business owner, I'm a business owner, there's too much, there's a lot of things I get from people that I don't have.
Yeah.
But I think it's being smart enough as a leader to recognize what you don't have and what you need.
Yes.
And bringing those talents around you because, these CEOs that like to preach like they know everything or they've got it all together, they're so full of themselves, right? Like
that is not
everyone's a great marketer. Not everyone can do marketing, accounting.
No, you can't do it all.
Human resource, front customer interaction.
No.
I manage a maintenance shop, and people are like, oh, you're in apartments, you know how to fix everything. I go, no, I know how to fix a few things, but the good thing is I know who does.
Yeah.
And who is the right tool to put on the situation, whether it be HVAC or plumbing.
Yeah.
You think I plumb every day? Do you think I do HVAC? No. And I think there's some Nebraska mentality, like that comes from our farming roots, where they can fix everything and do the whole field and WD-40 this, duct tape that. And it's like, look, God gave me brains, not the best hands in the world.
God. You just talked about two of my dad's favorite tools.
Yes. So you got to know what tools you were given and what tools you weren't and figure it out. I think that's good leadership.
Yeah, for sure. Hire people smarter than you that can do things you don't know how to do. So
yeah, it's a good thing God didn't give us all the same talents. We'd be in a world of hurt.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great place for us to wrap it up. But I, again, really appreciate you coming in today. It's always really fun to talk to you, and I learn something every time. So
it's nice, great to sit down with your friends and talk. So I appreciate it. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, it had been a little while, so it was really good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
You betcha. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today, and we'll see you in a few weeks.